My name is Carla Crucius, and I'm speaking to you from my home office in North Fort Myers, Florida. I'd like to take a few minutes and tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I earned a bachelor's degree in English, a master's degree in business, and a law degree, although I never practiced law. Right out of college, I started working for a company located in downtown Manhattan, approximately 2 blocks away from the Trade Center. I worked there for many, many years. I was good at what I did, I enjoyed what I did, and I knew that this would be the company from which I would retire. And in fact, it was while I was working at that company that I was able to go to school part-time at night to earn my master's degree and my law degree. So there I was. And then came 9/11. I watched the buildings collapse, thinking how lucky I was that I had not been in the Trade Center at that particular time. Particularly because I would walk through the World Trade Center each and every day on my way to work. I walked through the Trade Center that day. That day changed my life, and not in a good way. Everything had changed. Literally everything had changed. There were soldiers with rifles patrolling the subways. There were barricades, there were security guards, there were searches of belongings, certain buildings in the financial district. And in fact, even when I went home to New Jersey at night, there were military helicopters flying overhead. Everything, literally everything had changed. I couldn't shake the feeling, despite all the heightened security, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was going to be yet another attack. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, and I didn't know where, but my sense told me that it would be somewhere in the financial district. And I wasn't sure that I could survive another attack. So my partner had an opportunity to retire, and I decided that I had had enough of being afraid. So I opted to retire with her. I was 51 years old. We moved to Florida, and I knew that I had to find something to keep me busy, because although I was emotionally ready for retirement, I wasn't intellectually ready for retirement. So I found myself a job doing medical transcription. It didn't pay very much, but that was fine. I had a pension coming in. I wasn't working for the money, I was working for the fun of it, for the challenge of it. Not long after we moved to Florida, we had to bring my mother down from New Jersey to Florida. She was in her mid-80s and she had COPD. Not long after she moved here, she had to go into assisted living, and I found that I had to supplement her income in order for her to pay her rent. Transcription suddenly became a full-time job, and there was real pressure to hit a certain income goal each and every month. I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything until that goal was met. But she's in a nursing home now. She's 93 years old and doing pretty well, so no real complaints. But now I wanted money. I was 61 years old. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted for us to share adventures. And now I had an additional concern that I hadn't really thought about when I retired 10 years earlier. And that's that I was afraid that I would outlive my money. If my mother's age were any indication, that may very well be the case without some significant supplementation. But I wanted to make sure that we had a future too, and that when the time came that we needed care, that we would be able to afford it. And that's what led me to looking online for some sort of work-at-home business opportunity. I looked at a number of them, invested in a couple of them, and in fact they were schemes. But I found an opportunity that I thought would be the answer to my prayers, and I invested in it. And then not long after I invested in it, I invested even more money. I ended up taking money out of my retirement fund in order to purchase the higher levels of the program. The only problem was I didn't get any sales. So in addition to all the money that I invested, that I was reasonably certain I could recoup in not a terribly long period of time, I not only had money flowing out of my pension check every month that I hadn't expected, but I had increasing expenses. I had to walk away. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to stop the bleeding. The hemorrhage had already happened. I wanted to stop the bleeding. And I knew, as painful as it was, that I had literally just wasted thousands and thousands of dollars. And because it came out of my retirement fund, you can add an additional 30% tax bite onto that. I was devastated. So some time passed, and I realized that I had a choice. I could either take the money that I had left and bury it under the proverbial mattress, or I could take another chance. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, why in the world would she ever want to do that to herself again? And the fact is that I still wanted the money. And I believed deep in my heart that if I found the right opportunity, I could be successful at it. I just had to find the right one. So I kept looking. And I did find one. I applied all of the knowledge from the previous disaster to this opportunity, and it still came out looking really good. So I invested in it. And not being one to do things halfway, I invested more money in it. And there was training. God knows there was training. There was so much information from so many different avenues that I was overwhelmed. And there was a problem. And the problem was, frankly, that I didn't have a clue about what I was supposed to do. Nothing in my education or my background prepared me for a business that was based fundamentally on marketing. I didn't know the first thing about marketing. I didn't know where to begin. And then I was fortunate enough to be introduced to a mastermind group, a small group, a community of like-minded people who were trying to do what I was trying to do, who were worried about the kinds of things that I was worried about, but who were always there to support each other, to help solve problems, and to just make you feel you weren't in this alone. The mastermind was led by a dynamic and, dare I say, charismatic mentor and coach who wasn't afraid to lay things on the line for you and to set you straight when you wandered off the path. It was just what I needed. It was just what I needed. And I found that if I listened very carefully to what he said, I did what he told me to do, I learned from the collective knowledge of the community that I could be successful. Right? It doesn't matter what kind of business you want to set up. Whether you want to take advantage of the opportunity that I found or you want to go in a completely different direction. But the important thing is you need to find a mastermind. You need this group. You need the support of this group and the direction of its mentor. Believe me, I know that first step is a leap of faith. And I know that it is a long distance journey. But this mastermind will make the difference in whether that first step is onto a dirt road or onto a superhighway. You need this. Travel with me on this journey. You won't regret it. And your life may very well change. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks.